All right. Stephanie,
What's up?
how are you?
Vito, I've missed you.
I miss you too. Oh, it's so nice to
Let's do a summit every week, Vito.
yeah, let's do one every week until I pass out. It's gonna happen on the second week, really. We're gonna keep it. We're gonna wait for a few people to start joining us. Also, we have a friend that is late to the broadcast.
Oh my
We'll see who that
goodness.
is in a minute. This is gonna be a really interesting conversation. Basically, we're gonna be summarizing some of the key points. So we watched the 40 hours of training that we ran through the event 2 weeks ago. Stephanie, of course, was one of my co-hosts, and we're going to go through 4 points that people can really take and implement into their agency and freelancing business straight away. So I'm excited about that.
4 points total? I thought we each got 4 points.
Oh, you prepared points as well?
Well, I've got a lot. There's been a lot of discussions in other groups and other places after the talks, things people learned or noticed or references to different talks. So there's a lot of stuff that came from the summit.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we can definitely touch that as well. Actually, there is a question that I will address over to you in a minute. I just want to let people know, as we're kind of why we're doing this right now. So at the beginning of the year, we started doing those coaching sessions in our Facebook group and basically in our social channels for our users. And then we went into version 2.0 and we went into the summit. And so everything was kind of like got jumbled up a little bit. And now we're back. So every week from now until forever, we're going to go back to doing the coaching sessions. We have really interesting topics that we're going to cover every single week. But for this week, we have Stephanie with us. And look at this, Stephanie. Look at this.
Well. Look who
I'm here
decided to grace us with his presence.
You're rubbing the silo over there. What is that?
I'm a bandit. I've been playing golf. I was late, and we were playing in front of some people who are really slow.
Oh.
What do you do?
Yeah. So we've gathered here, the three of us, once again.
Like old times, you guys.
Like old times. The Web Agency Summit hosts to discuss what we learned and what we think other people can take away from the event. And if you stay until the end, there's also something really cool that I will share with a lot of you that is going to save a lot of money for everyone that wants to come on board then. So how are you guys?
Yeah, well, I'm cold. It's freezing. I've literally just got off the golf course. My hands are like, But I had a good time. The sun was shining for a while, but it's now getting really cold. So I've got my coat on. I've got my little mask thing, and I'm good. Yeah, I'm very good.
COVID safe. I like it.
COVID safe.
Play golf in your mask?
Play golf in my mask? No, you've got to, because of COVID. When there's a halfway house, you go in for a warming soup or something. You just have to quickly just do that. So the club
soup. That's what you're having. That's what you're having at the turn. Soup. Mm-hmm.
Yes, soup
in a little glass like this on rocks. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I wish. Yeah.
That's what you should be having.
I know.
So
I've got a cup of coffee. I was made a cup of coffee on the way. I ordered it on the way. So there you go. Thanks to you.
You stole somebody's mug. Hey Vito, has your family enjoyed being reunited with you after the summit ended?
It was so nice.
You got to take a couple days off, huh?
Yeah, after a long time, really.
Nice.
I had a couple of days with my family that came over after a year not seeing them. And they got to see my daughter for the first time. My parents got to see their granddaughter for the first time. So that was really exciting. Yeah, it was awesome. I wish they stayed because, like we just, once they left, we're like, what? Do we need to hold her again 24/7?
Aww.
So it was nice to have
nice
some
they got to meet her. That's awesome.
So as people are starting to join us, I want to encourage everyone to click this StreamYard link on this Facebook and YouTube thingy, and so that they can have your data and we can have your name, and then just let us know where you're from, where are you joining us, and did you attend the summit? Were you joining us during the event itself? So while people are kind of feeding this in, I am already gonna start bringing this presentation on here so we can start talking a little bit. Where is it? Yes. All right. So this is what we're gonna be doing today. This is the first coaching session after a little break, after a month or so of break. And this session is about build, expand, scale, and thrive. Stephanie and Andrew, I think you can recognize those 4 little words from the event itself. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be covering 4 key points, one from each of these categories that the event was running on, to understand what we can take from the summit and implement within our agency now. Q2 just started, so this is a great time to make some changes, to advance, and to strategize in the right direction. So hopefully those 4 key points are going to help us all do that. But before we get to this, I want to ask you guys, what did you learn from the summit?
Never to work with Stephanie.
What's that? What'd you say?
Never to work with Stephanie Hudson. Again.
Even though you started working right after the summit.
Yeah, exactly. Vito learned never partner up with 2 gingers at the same time. It's a little
one graying ginger. Yeah.
That's my key takeaway.
Yeah.
I did learn something. I mean, I learned, we all kind of ignore accessibility, and I've been trying to get better at accessibility for a while now, and it's just so hard. It's just so hard. But also, you've got to kind of think about accessibility with pretty websites. Making sure that the websites are still attractive, and all the accessibility kind of conforming websites that I've seen tend to be.
We're not, right?
So
yeah,
that. But also, the LinkedIn presentation was good. I mean, Chris Lemmer was, he's always informative. He always does good presentations. There was, it's not fair to pick anyone out. I thought all the presenters did a pretty damn good job, really. It was live and it was tense, and you had 2 basic amateur stage managers, welcoming people most of the time.
I only messed up like 5 or 6 sessions. That's all.
Right.
Of my mind, yeah.
Of what? Oh, yeah. When you were sleeping a little bit.
Yeah, dozed off. No. When Vito forgot to pay the bills and we went off for a minute, that was a little stressful. I'll tell you, Chris Lemma, I caught that one on the replay. Gosh, that guy is such a pro, isn't he? His presentation was so polished and so good. And that's been one that's been sort of simmering in the back of my mind too, because I think we see so many people in the groups and things like that are either racing to the bottom or this like ego to race to the top, and like, I would never work with that person. Someone says like, what would you do if somebody comes to you with this? I would just show them the door. There's like this ego that pushes you too high and too low. And he was like, there's a really big middle, was basically the point of his talk, I think. And it's like, it doesn't mean that you reduce your value, or it doesn't mean that you do things that you shouldn't do. It just means meet them where they are and offer them an appropriate service or product. And I really appreciated the way he framed that and everything. And it sort of has had my wheels spinning ever since. It was really good, huh?
Well, so when they grow, you grow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So every customer has a potential to be an Apple. I mean, they don't, but they might do.
They might.
Maybe not Apple. Every customer has a potential to be a better customer. How about that? They can become better.
Yeah.
Is Andrew glitching a little bit, or is it on my end?
No, it's Andrew. Andrew's connection is not awesome, so you can sort it out.
It's tough in the bunker to get good Wi-Fi.
It's completely frozen now. But I will add to this that I had one key takeaway from the Vinder that really stuck with me. And this is actually something that I've been practicing without realizing. But, sometimes someone just puts a label on something that you're just trying to do naturally. And it kind of makes it all click. And he said his sentence was, always work with inspiring people. With people that inspire you, really was the way that he said it. And I think that this is such a strong approach to life as a whole, but specifically in business, just surrounding yourself with people with companies, with brands, with friends, with partners, really, that you can learn from, that you can take inspiration from, instead of being the one that is, let's say, sometimes we try to be the one on top, like I will be the alpha, I will be the strongest, I will be, and then you're missing out on potential learning from every person that is around you. So that is something that really stuck with me. Work with people that inspire you. I love that saying.
That is good.
Yeah, it was Christina. She's just so relaxed.
Andrew, you're a robot. You sound like a robot.
Let me connect and connect again. See ya.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, so Stephanie,
I got another one.
We don't need him, really.
We don't need him. No, we got plenty to talk about. I'll save Christina for him, though. I'll let him talk about Christina still. Another one that has been sort of swirling around my brain was Beth Livingston, her Magic of the Change Budget. This was all very new to me. The change budget idea, where you're like basically letting your client know ahead of time, like there's going to be modifications to the scope. Let's plan for it. Like it's still an adjustment for my brain to get used to that, but I can see the potential in it. And I've reached out to her to learn more about those kind of things and hopefully have her talk in my Facebook group soon, because I think it's such a beneficial topic. The other thing I loved is that she does basically 2 proposals, which is her way of kind of getting the paid discovery, basically, without saying, without saying it.
Right.
She does the one that's a range. So do your quick review of what you think the project scope is going to be, give a range. Then when they sign on the dotted line, then you go in and you do your deep dive, your discovery. And then if you're outside of that range, they can walk away, but you keep the discovery amount, whatever that initial bit was. Or they can, if it's within the range, then they've already basically signed off and it's still a go. So it's really a fascinating concept, and I'm looking forward to having an opportunity to try that out.
I agree. This is something that could have saved me so much headaches and so much money, really, of scope creep along the years.
Yeah, for sure.
So Andrew, Andrew is back to being frozen over there, and he has no nose. It's so pixelated that we can't see him.
Let me try. I've got 2 internet connections. Let me try a different one. Sorry.
Poor Andrew.
And so these are basically, so we're gonna move forward for the sake of the time of the presentation. Wait, let me drop Andrew's frozen face from here, right? While he's sorting it out. And then, so these are the 4 categories that we actually focused on throughout the event. We divided all of the sessions into one of those 4s: build, expand, scale, and thrive, with the idea that while the event was focusing really not on how to build websites, but how to deliver websites for clients, even the build category focused around the things that you can do with your clients, the things that you can do for your clients, how to build a website for a client, which is a completely different ballgame compared to just building a website, right?
Mhm.
Then expanding, how to create the sustainability and increasing your profit. So we talked a little bit about, or a lot, we talked a lot about recurring revenue, different channels of recurring revenue, building those services in there, mindset. That's where Chris Lima's talk was in, I believe. And then after that, we moved over to scale. Where every small spark can become a wildfire, and how you want to make sure that your processes are really in check. And that's where Beth discussed the change budget. That's where we had Marcus talking about his approach to project management. A lot of really interesting discussions over there. And finally, Thrive, we listened and we learned from inspiring people that already did it. Companies that were already thriving, agencies of 40 plus people, companies like GoDaddy, companies that were already running or built. Sometimes it's hard to remember that all of these massive companies that we're working with started as a one guy in a shed somewhere, in a bomb shelter, right? Somewhere.
In a bunker.
In a bunker, yeah. So these are our 4 categories. Now let's dive in. So build the highlight.
I dove in early. I'm sorry. I thought we were just talking about. I thought we were just talking about things.
Oh no, we have we really took it. We actually created snippets from one session of. We chose 4 sessions out of the summit for each one of the categories, and we're just going to bring them to discussion for the 3 of us. Let me see if Andrew is there.
Andrew wants in again in the chat. Should we let him?
How am I?
Andrew is hyperventilating over there.
How is it?
Yeah,
I think it's better.
Great.
2 internet connections. See?
Welcome back, friend.
I have a backup.
Crazy.
Always have a backup.
Always have a backup.
And here's Marika, my pal Marika. I loved her.
Who doesn't?
I know. She was the sweetest.
Yeah.
This was such an interesting conversation because it was, again, just like giving us some hands-on advice, or just like a few tips that we can really implement. And out of the 40 sessions, we chose Marika's talk. And out of the 7 tips, we chose 1 tip. So let's watch that first, and then we're going to talk about this. All right?
Sure.
Cool.
And this happens if websites get a bit older and contain more content. And it usually occurs, or at least it happened to us without even realizing it. So I wrote 2 posts, and they're no longer on site, but I did write 2 posts about readability. And the first post was optimized for does readability rank? And the second post was optimized for readability ranking factor. And these posts really had a different angle. And I wrote them like a year and a half apart. Still, to Google, I think they're really similar. And it's hard to figure out for Google which one of these articles are the most important. So what happens, so what the result of keyword cannibalization is that Google gets confused. You're competing with your own content, and Google doesn't know which one it should rank highest. And what happens then, because if you confuse Google, Google will rank both of these articles much lower than if you would have to have only one of those. So my tip is, don't compete with yourself, because there are lots of people out there to compete with. So never compete with yourself. So as we all have websites that are getting older, and we all keep adding content, and I think lots of people are just like, oh, but I wrote this article, now I don't want to throw it away. So we keep adding it, but we hardly ever clean up. And in order to get SEO fit, we need to do something about that.
So the point here that Mike is making is that just don't compete with yourself. And I think that we all fell into this trap with our own content, but also I know that through the agency days, we were providing this as a service to clients, content creation and like blog management. Really, we've never considered this being a problem, because you just want to tackle the same pain point for your client. for the end client, and then you just write articles that are saying the same thing from a different angle, really. But apparently, this is a big no-no.
Well,
Are you frozen again?
no, I'm thinking.
I wonder what that smoke was coming out of your ears.
Phrase the question again, because I've got an answer for this. I was distracted.
Okay, and then we're gonna crop this part, even though this is live.
Right. We'll fix this in post.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But live is live. Live is fun. So
Yeah, it's live. It's live. So basically, the idea is that you don't want to compete with yourself. If you're writing an article that says the same thing but from different angles, Google is gonna penalize you. It's gonna.
Well, yeah, I do kind of agree with that. But then what you've got. There are some benefits to that. I've had a conversation with Marie on this, that there are some benefits to re-explaining something. And, say you've put a blog post on about a particular product and a particular feature, then you can dive deeper into that particular feature. You've mentioned it in a post, and then you can do a real deep dive into that feature, and then link each blog post to each other, and that generates an inward link, which is good for SEO as well. So I think you just have to be careful not to duplicate content, because that's what she's saying. It's almost Google will see this as duplicate content. But if you're clever and you write for your user, I think a certain amount of duplication is quite acceptable. I mean, we did it all the time on a big website that I used to run, and it used, these pages were getting lots of hits and then turning into sales. So, you just revisit a subject maybe and go and dive deeper into it.
I think what she was talking about, though, isn't so much duplicate content penalties as it is where it's so similar that Google doesn't know which one to send people to. So it's not that it's like saying like, oh, you're plagiarizing, because that's really what the duplicate content is more of a plagiarism issue. And it's not that. It's more so like, don't like reduce your rankings on don't make your 2 pages compete for traffic. If you can get them all to 1 instead of spreading them out to 2. That was how I took it anyway.
And even the point is really around the keyword itself. The keyword cannibalization. So using the same phrase in multiple, like with keyword density and all of those kind of stuff. Or even in the subject line, like she showed an example of when she was searching for a certain keyword, she found 3 articles that have the same title, just on the Yoast, their Yoast blog. Just like thinking around this thing, and I know that we have this stuff on Atarim as well, because we talk about project management, we talked about client communications. Like there's really just so much that you can go around it without starting to repeat yourself. But this is really something that stuck with me, and I passed this on to our content team to check. To check if we are doing this and if we are maybe try and change the way that we phrase it to something else. It's not about the content as a whole. It's about the phrase itself.
Sure. Okay. Well, I get that then. And that would be, but it's just common sense though, isn't it? Also remembering what you've written about.
Well, you've been writing for years, so you start repeating yourself.
Yeah, especially when we have like a target audience, a certain niche, maybe a certain set of services. Like you can only write like that's what she said. She had written 2 articles that were very similar over a year apart. Yeah. So it's obviously it wasn't like intentional, or it wasn't on her mind, but it's just, which shows that it's not just about remembering, but it's about going back and checking things every so often too, and doing these little fitness tests. I liked how she kept that little illustration of fitness throughout. I thought she did that really well.
All right, let's move over to Chris. So Andrew already mentioned Chris, and I think we can all agree that this was definitely one of the highlights of the event, this session. The single paradigm shift you need to experience to help you add 100K to 300K to your income. That would be like annual revenue, I would say. So let's, without further ado, let's see what Chris had to say, and then we can talk about this a little bit.
What it comes down to, right, is all about segmentation. You segment so that you can have predictability. If your segments are not predictable, if you send out a message and you get very different responses, your segments may be too big, right? You might have said, well, we work with web creators, or we work with website owners, or they're not a monolith, right? And so your segment may be, I mean, yes, web creators is very different than, say, mechanics, but in the web creator space, there's a wide space of what you're doing. And so if your segments are too big, then what you really need to do is create micro segments. And when you do that, you'll be able to message more effectively and even create these different versions of your main offering in a way that connects with and closes more of those deals.
Just love the way that he talks, really. He's just so spot on. The way that he doesn't talk, there's breaks. It lets you kind of like let it sink in. It's just awesome. The presentation style is great. So
he's an excellent speaker.
So I think you mentioned this, Stephanie, already about finding what Chris was saying is basically finding the not pushing out all kinds of clients that don't fit your exact criteria, but really trying to find the right channels for them. But here is even taking it a step further by talking about segmenting them so that you can attract them and you can message to them a lot more efficient.
It is really brilliant. It's so good. He's really capitalizing on the biggest chunk of his market that he can, and he's not losing out on business, even if it's smaller business. Again, waiting, like just keeping them as customers, even if it's just a small thing, so that they can then eventually potentially grow into larger customers. It's really brilliant.
And that's
Andrew, is that something that you're?
Well, it's something I do all the time. It's something I do all the time. There's nothing new in what Chris Lemmer says, apart from the fact that it's re-educating all of us to make sure that we're not just doing accountants or life coaches or plumbers. We're actually open to working with people with a restricted budget, for instance, and finding ways that we can. If they've only got $2,000, then that's, really that's going to get them a landing page and a contact form, in reality, if you're going to, and a bit of hosting, but it's if they've only got $300, then you can, like he said, you can send them an ebook and say, you can pay me $100 for this ebook, or I'll gift it to you or whatever, because, I reckon this is the way you should be going, because you don't have enough money to engage me, but he's continually engaging people or keeping them engaged with him, because he's offering them something else,
and he's providing value at
exactly.
their budget price point.
Yeah, and that's the key. And I think there was a comment that said, "Oh my God, you charge $100 for an ebook," and he said, "Well, I've written it. I took the time to do it, and it will save these people some money. So if I can get $100 for an ebook, then I'm going to do that. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And hopefully they'll come back to me when they've got more money."
The interesting thing about all this is I think this is something that he's very organized about it, but it's a lot of us, it's our natural inclination, and maybe how we start is we'll just take any work we can get, right? We'll just say yes to everything. And then we sort of overshoot it to the point where we're turning things away, or, oh, that's not my niche, or that's, like we get too exclusive. And he's kind of circling us back and saying, like, let's not get carried away. Let's be reasonable. Don't dilute yourself or your value, but serve your customers. I thought this was a brilliant talk. I took a lot from it.
And I think that this is something that stops people from this concept of going too extreme. Stops a lot of people from really niching down because they say, I'm going to miss out on other clients and whatever, which really, in the long run, and when you niche down, you realize that it's not true, because really by niching down, you can segment your audience and have predictability in how to approach them, where to find them, how to convert them, because the message can be repeated as opposed to trying to target everyone. But like really from that aspect, if we're segmenting, let's say that we have the niche, whatever niche that may be. I would even say that post-COVID, you should have like 2 niches that are very far apart, just to be on the safe side, because like complete industries have been wiped out over the past year or so. But let's say you do niche down. Within that niche, you can segment the different customers based on their time in business, or based on their budgetary needs, or based on their service needs, so that one of them will only need that ebook, the other one will need a fully customized e-commerce website that will take them to helping them become the next Apple, as you were saying, Andrew, right? But it's a journey. And when I was doing this, my assumption or my go-to approach was like, oh, you want me to build Facebook for $500? I can't do it. Bye.
The answer is no.
The answer is no. Yeah.
But his answer is
now your approach would be, here's an ebook and how to do it. And his
answer is it's just not that. Yeah. I can't do that for you for that, but I can guide you on the path to do it yourself.
You start building your community. Why do you want to have a Facebook? Because you want to have a community that you can manage. So start on Facebook, build a community, then get them out, and and here is how you can do this or whatever. If this is your audience, let's say that your audience is working with community builders, or the people that ask for these Facebook type of platforms. So then you will already have this ebook if you're accounting for the lower tier customers or prospects that might come your way. And then on the other end, there might be someone that already has a thriving community of 20,000 people on Facebook or on LinkedIn or whatever, and they want to take them off-site to their own environment. Awesome, let's do a proper project,
Yeah, I agree. But also one of the things that I've picked up from Chris Lemmer over the years is that he uses, I can't remember what system he uses, but it's basically he charges from 10 minutes to an hour via a system where he gets paid by the minute to give you advice. And there's no reason why any of us can't do this. I coach people, Stephanie coaches people, and sometimes we forget the time and we forget that we should have actually charged a little bit more for our time that, made somebody an extra $5,000 on a project that they wouldn't have made if they hadn't had our coaching,
right.
Simple as that. So yeah, you can, I think anybody that follows Chris Lemmer, you learn about his work ethic. Clarity FM, thanks Zach, really appreciate that. And the fact that he blogs every day. Crazy.
All right, so Chris Lemmer was definitely an awesome session about segmentation, about building those different value points for the clients that you're serving after you're niching down or instead of niching down, really. And then Melissa Love was talking about turning your website into a marketing machine. So this one is also one of the ones that stayed with me, and it kind of connected to me. For me, it connected with Chris's talk as well, because it was approaching the same value ladder concept, only that she really opened it up and showed exactly how she managed to build her massive business based on this. So let's watch what Melissa had to say.
So what do clients actually need? This is a really, really important question. So they think they're coming to you for some branding, a pretty logo, a functional website that's better than the one they've got. But, that's all just window dressing. What every business wants is more conversions, more sales, growth. So yeah, straight on the money there, Mal, to make money, bottom line. Yeah. So yes, and so your website is all about them. Sue's saying my main purpose is to attract ideal clients to my business. It is. But what it really is, it's a way for them to raise their hand and think, oh my God, I'm so in because this person understands my business. So I think a lot of times we get very caught up in showing off the work we've done and showing off our portfolio and thinking that's going to do the work for us. You can't compete on portfolio alone, not anymore. Not when there's so many people in web design and, arguably with page builders, website design has been somewhat democratized. So there's a lot of not great designers out there. So when you're a great designer, you think, oh, my work's so good compared to these other designers who are cheaper than me. All I need to do is show it to people. It doesn't quite work that way. And I'm actually going to prove it to you.
Okay, Melissa, as super on point as always. What every business wants is more conversions, more sales, and growth. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Well, unless you're very comfortable with the current, say you've got some customers tied in forever, then yeah, maybe you don't want any growth. You can carry on and you can go out and play your golf and you can go out and, on your regular holidays every year, you can schedule your life perfectly. But I don't think any business like that exists. You've got to be able to always have.
If they do, they're not looking for a new website and a new marketing plan. I mean, they're.
Well, no, if it's your business, if you're that comfortable with the amount of customers that you've got, you kind of think they're never going to leave you, or you don't need to grow the business because you've reached a point where you're happy with paying the salaries you've got, you're happy with your life and your life. Say it's a lifestyle business, but every business needs to think about growth and bringing in new business, whether you want one website a month or 10 websites a month or 10 consultancies a month. It's and what she said was just on point. You keep people in a continual funnel until they decide to say goodbye.
And there was there is a bit of a different. I'm gonna be a bit of a devil's advocate here because there is a different approach to marketing messaging that a lot of times is being frowned upon. And I get it. Like, we don't practice this, but I always keep thinking, or not always, but sometimes it just comes into my mind, like, maybe that is the right approach. So maybe people don't really want more conversions, more sales and growth. Maybe they're scared of losing their current level of business more than they want something. Maybe they're more scared of loss than they are poised for gain.
Well, then what you do is you have a nurturing campaign, which basically keeps your customers happy and informed, and you upsell to your current client base, because that's one of the. It's cheaper to upsell to a client that you've already got than it is to acquire. I used to work for a company, NTL, who are now Virgin Media. I used to do all their printing, and their customer acquisition to acquire a customer cost them £100, right? To keep a customer, even this is why when you phone up a mobile phone company and say, right, I'm moving from you, I'm going somewhere else, they're saying, well, okay, what are you paying at somewhere else? We'll give you that discount for the next year, because it's cheaper for them to give them the discount than go out and acquire a new customer. It's that simple.
I think one of the keys about this, though, is that whether you're talking about retention or growth for the customer's goals, that's sort of irrelevant to the point that Melissa was making in that clip. What she's saying is, this isn't just like a client might come to you and say, I want a new logo, or I need a better website, but they don't really understand what they need. It's who is it? Seth Godin, or who is it that says nobody wants a 1/4-inch drill bit. What people want is a 1/4-inch hole, right? Or what they actually want is a picture up on attached to their wall. They don't, but they're buying a 1/4-inch drill bit. So I just love that illustration because they're saying they're shopping for their 1/4-inch drill bit, which is their website, but that's not actually what they want. And that sentence in bold there, you can't compete on portfolio alone. If you come at them and say like, okay, anybody can build them a website. Like there are literally millions of people that could build somebody a website that would represent their company online. But if you come in and say like, but what are your company's goals and how can we make this website a tool that assists you in achieving those goals? That's where we take ourselves from just like selling websites to business consultants basically, and where we can start charging the bigger dollars, where we can start really having loyal customers and things like that. Regardless of what that goal is, if we help them identify that, that really can set you apart from the competition.
It can, and you can start charging the big bucks. Yeah, that's the key, because you can tie in your success rate to their success rate. And that also incentivizes you to become more successful for your customers. Mm-hmm. And also at the end of the day, when you've become more successful, say you've got your proof, your social proof, or your testimonial proof that we helped grow this company from 0 to $1.5 million turnover in a month. I did that. Mm-hmm. That allows me to show somebody else a website and how we did that, and have the testimony from the customer. Yeah, we did that. This is what Andy helped us do. So, what's the fee for that? It's loads of money.
Yeah, I agree. And I like that. You can't compete on portfolio alone, because a lot of us go into this space from wanting to build websites. Really, we want to create drill bits. We don't want to have pictures on the wall, really, in some cases. So that's a really interesting point to take. And again, it gets a lot easier combined with segmentation. So if you know who you're targeting, then you know what are their goals, what are their particular goals, and also you can know how to get them to those goals, because you can show that you've done this with another real estate type of business, another whatever type of business that you worked with in the past. So tied together.
And like what Andy was just saying about the showing the results, it might be hard to sell somebody a website for $5,000, $10,000, because that's just an expense. If you could say though, we can get you $50,000 in revenue by spending $10,000 on this website, you're selling profit. There's no everybody would buy that every day of the week, as opposed to just an expense or a loss just because you have to have a website because they think so. So it this mind shift really changes everything.
It does. I think the sales pitch that I've always done with websites and or print was that you've got to, whatever you're producing marketing wise has got to become self-liquidating. So it just pays for itself 10 times over. You've got to have a return on investment on it. You can't measure that, but if you sell it as a tool to sell or to promote the company and to make the company more money, it becomes a zero cost. It's quite a simple sales pitch, really. Make your website self-liquidating.
Yeah. So
people don't even think that this cost me 10 grand. Oh no, it made me 50.
So we're moving over to the last key point, key takeaway from the event by Christina, which we also all remembered very well as one of the highlights of the event itself. And this was on the Thrive category, measuring the value of your web agency. So she was even giving away a few formulas that you can just plug in some numbers in there, and you know exactly what your agency is worth, what your life's work is worth, really. So let's see what Christina has to say. Not really on the formula side, but around the value of web agency.
This is where I get back to kind of the golden rule of everything I talk about. I think when you build your agency or when you run your business, you should be focusing on building a loyal list of clients. You shouldn't every day have to be out there trying to get work. You should have for yourself a good, loyal list of clients you've been working with that you can just continue to nurture and can continue to have a relationship with, to grow their sites, to support them in different ways, that you're not out every day trying to do lead generation. That's where we want to be specifically for a small web agency space. So when we took a look at what you offer your clients, these are the things that the clients are going to stick around for. And the first one is systems and processes. This is critical, not just for your efficiency, for knowing where, your expenses are and how much profit you'll get off of a project or a website care plan or anything you're doing, but also for your clients. When you offer systems and processes from day one, when they email you and the email you send back is like, here's my calendar schedule link, right? Here's the form to fill out to see if you qualify for, the right type of client we serve. All of those systems and processes reiterate to your client that you're efficient, you're going to get things done on time, you're going to get things done within budget. That's what that says to your clients. And that is worth so much value to your client, that they know that they're going with someone who has it together.
What do you think, guys?
Well, she's preaching to the converted. I mean, as far as we're concerned, I'm sure, because, we're all, Stephanie's business focused WP is all about, building up loyal customers and having them there, and then, maintaining the services that Focus give to the customers, and then, building up those services to become higher value, starting off a lower value and then getting, as they grow, the package grows. So therefore the income grows and Focus grow and everything. So, it's all about, and we all know that, having a company that has customers or even a database, Elegant Marketplace had a database of 100,000 people, customers, and a loyal situation going on there, and that puts the price up. So you've got to look at what value can you add to your customer base every day to make sure that they stay with you, so that when you do sell the company, you have got this loyal customer base and they're so tied in with you that they can't really say goodbye, or they wouldn't want to necessarily say goodbye if you sold to an outside source. I was talking to Hans about this when he sold his agency. He had a set amount of customers, they were spending a set amount of money, therefore it was very easy to value the agency going on a very slight growth path. And what she says there is just very, very sensible. Build your client base, keep them happy, keep a record of what they're doing, what they're spending, and even revisit them and say, we can do this for this, and we think you need to maybe go up to the larger package because that will improve your business, and blah blah blah. And then when you come to the end of the day and you do your P&L and you give that to somebody that's interested in buying you've got a good valuation basis for your business. So that's what I got out of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that having a list of clients that you can continue to nurture is the key here, because and I made this mistake myself in the early days of the agency, that I just wanted to build a website and move on, and and then find another client that wants a website and build a website for them, instead of getting those people into care plans, trying to see what else we can do. Maybe we can serve them on, which is something that we did on the later years. And I kind of did that out of necessity because I already had a team and salaries to pay. So I was kind of starting to explore how can I add more value to the client and generate more income for me from the same people that we had. But then really towards the final days of the agency, we had like 10 solid clients that were spending thousands of pounds every single month on certain services. And then, there's been customers that come and go, but really those 10 key clients are the ones that drove the business forward.
Yeah.
I'm super interested in this topic, and I have a confession. I haven't gotten to this one yet. I haven't seen the talk. And I love Christina too. She's so great. She was sort of a fundamental, what what is it, like influence? Because back in the day, she was one of the ones that first started sort of really with the care plans and really like putting it into a process and building a business around that. And that's the early days of that are what how I started building the parts in my agency that then turned into Focus WP at first. So I've been following her for a really long time. And as I transitioned from an agency to Focus WP more and more, this topic of like, is my business sellable? Is there a value there? You know, that all is very much on my mind. So I just want to say I'm glad I have the bonus pack so I can still keep going back and watching things again. Because nobody could have caught every single talk.
Yeah.
There were so many
40 hours of sessions.
Yeah, but this one is definitely on my list, pinned to the top to go back and check out because it's very front of mind for me. That the book Built to Sell also was like, gosh, it was so mind altering for me too, to change my perspective on certain things. And I think that's a bit of the same kind of thing that she talks about in her valuation kind of topics.
And it's funny that you're mentioning the ability to watch everything in replays, because that's really what I'm going to show next. Because I know that there's been a lot of questions after we upped the prices after the event. So I want to bring this back for just a little bit for the people that are joining us on this call, on this session. And I'm going to go into this one. Right. So we're basically going to reduce the price by $300 for this massive pack of that we were running through the agency, through the Web Summit agency, Web Agency Summit, right? And so I'm just going to share my screen so we can go through exactly what is included in each one of those things.
Yeah, because it's a lot more than just the talks. I mean, the talks alone are a big value, but
I don't need it. I watched all the talks. I don't know what you two
yeah,
did.
right.
You were broadcasting most of them, so you were.
Did you see every single talk, Andrew? Really?
Every single one.
Wow, it's impressive.
So what we did is we actually included all of the ones from last year as well. So and Andy, I don't think you watched the ones from last year also. So what you can find here is 60 plus hours of expert advice, expert training to help grow any web agency freelance business to the next level. And right now the price is at $500. But again, I said here that we're going to be giving away $300 off for the people that are watching this session right now. And so let's just go through quickly what we have here. We have the 4 categories. We talked about Marek, but we have Todd and Amber who was talking about accessibility, Amazon Alexa, how that connects into the future, translations. We have remotely managing projects and your team. This is from last year. And then we have Christina again this year with something with around valuing your agency, Web Vitals, good, why not, static first approach, and so on and so on. I'm just going to run through the sessions here so we can see all of the awesome stuff that we have. How to sell WordPress care plans, get notified by your dream clients on LinkedIn, Elementor hacks for agencies by Elementor, how to become a high-value WordPress LMS consultant by the king of LMS, Chris.
The dude himself.
Is the dude. B2B marketing on Twitter explained by Bridget, who is the queen of Twitter. We have proactive project management by Marcus. This was a really interesting session. And we talked about Melissa's session also. Look at this. There's also one from me as well. Chase, that was talking about creating a SaaS as a way of dealing with all of those small websites. Creating a Wix of your own, really. Creating a Webflows or a Squarespace. 4.5 ways to scale your e-commerce business by Ronald from Yeath. How to end scope creep forever. How to design, build, and deploy CRM systems. Why we need WASs. How automation makes the lives of WordPress professionals easier by Bo from Dolly. We have Adam from GoDaddy. Look at this. We have Christina again measuring the value of the web agency, what we talked about now. Lessons from Jimmy, who grew an agency of more than 50 people, what his journey was like and what he learned from it. And the list just goes on and on and on. And now we're going to get into the bonuses here.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, there's
What
loads more.
ways? Love it.
There's loads more. So first of all, the masterclass sessions that we just saw, but then we also partnered up with Christina, and she's a great friend of Atarim and a great friend of mine because, like you said, Stephanie, I learned how to run my care plans from her, and it started just with a small YouTube video that I found back in the day. She was giving a talk at some WordCamp. And then I went on and bought this course that now is being given as part of this package for free. And then we're also giving away resources to teach you how to grow your agency, the best agency growth strategy, which is my strategy, how we took my agency from just myself, being a freelancer, building websites in a van, to a team of 12 within 3 years, mid 6 figures in revenue, how to deal with scope creep, how we dealt with scope creep, how we launched our WordPress product, how we launched what was WP Feedback and now is Atarim, and generated more than $100,000 in revenue within the first 30 days. It's a really interesting case study. Prototyping templates for all the big page builders. So for our users, you also have this as part of you joining Atarim, but for people that are not using Atarim, you can get those as part of this pack right now. Prototyping template, the perfect project framework. So I'm going through how to deliver a project perfectly, and this saves so much time just by doing it the right way. But then if you're using Asana, this is an amazing resource that are a bunch of templates for running proposals, doing billing, project management templates, website checklists, customer development checklists, landing page checklists. There's even personal finances, personal budgeting, saving money for your future as a freelancer, as a solo entrepreneur. It's very important, and a lot of times it's being missed. And of course, we have a few other of our coaching sessions that are being added here, how to remove major bottlenecks, which are from your workflow. The main 3 bottlenecks: gathering content, approving designs, and providing support, is part of this pack. And also swipe copy to send to your clients. If you're getting stuck on any stage of the project, you have this email, a pack of emails that you just take and drop, and that's it. You're back to normal. So all you need to do, this is the full pack. All that you need to do is just visit this page that I'm going to share here. It's going to share it everywhere. And just try and just, I can see that it now shared it in all of the different places. And use Summit Pass in the checkout, and it's going to drop $300 from this entire pack that you saw right now. And that's pretty much it. So thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Andrew. I know that you guys, Stephanie, you need to go to a session with the client now.
Yep.
So before we wrap up,
I have to go and get my Thai dinner. That's what I have.
Oh, that sounds good. How about?
Did you get your old man nap today? Did you get your old man nap today?
Did I get my what?
Your old man nap?
No, I played golf.
Oh,
that's a
you
different
and I are going
type
to have
of
a
old man
conversation,
nap.
young lady.
Stephanie, how about you tell us a little bit of where people can find you and where people can learn more about Focus WP?
Okay. Well, Focus WP helps solo pros and small agencies to grow by providing the team that you need. We want to empower you to be the boss. You're the boss of your agency. This is the team you need. You delegate to us. We do the things that you don't want to do, don't know how to do, whatever it is that help you serve your clients better. You can find out more at focuswp.co. And I'm always hanging out over in my Facebook group, Focus on Your Biz, B-I-Z, where we got a lot of those folks in there helping each other and sharing cool tools and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Awesome. And Andrew, what are you doing nowadays?
Besides golfing now.
Yeah.
No, I'm focusing on sitefixer.co.uk because we can, we've got a couple of fixes. You can get one, one of the things that Chris Limmer, actually, I learned from him on Twitter, and he said there's no one around to do those quick fixes when people don't want to pay a subscription, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing a $30 quick fix. We'll fix an image, we'll fix your text, we'll fix a a minor thing, but coding wise, you know, and we do a fix for $97 if it's technical. So, you know, that I'm focusing on sitefixer.co.uk really, and just trying to grow that and being a digital advocate. Really, I'm liking a couple of people that a couple of businesses that I like, particularly Focus WP. I really like them, and Grid Pane and people around there, and just getting people's names out there for no payment, you know, just for saying, you know, really guys, you've got to look at these people because they're proper people. They do the job, you know. They get it done.
Andrew Palmer does have a heart. He
As
is
a
a
master,
nice guy.
It's black as coal. But you know what, it's not all about, and I'm trying to take the focus away from WordPress or Wix or, you know, and all these things and Shopify and everything. It doesn't matter what platform you're using, just use one. Choose one and go with it, you know. And
good
like
at
Atarim, I mean, I'm an advocate for Atarim as well. I mean, every single person that I speak to, WordPress wise, you know, use Atarim because it's changed the way I do. I mean, we build websites really quick. It's crazy quick, you know, really easy. And that my customers love it, to be honest, you know.
Awesome.
And that's enough blowing smoke up someone's wherever, you know.
Well, this was super fun. Thanks so much for including me, Vito. I've enjoyed every minute of doing this with you guys, hanging out.
Thank you.
We'll do it again. One day we'll do it again one day, right?
Yeah. Well, just for one day.
Yeah, definitely you and Stephanie. Yeah, we don't want to do 5 days in a row again. All right.
Thanks
everyone.
guys. Thank you guys for joining me here.
Easy.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.